The story of a people is told best by those who live it out daily. And when the history of that community is informative, inspirational, and insightful, it should then be shared with the world. The Clio Exchange does that.
I'm just so delighted for a lot of reasons, Bobby. One, because I consider you a friend, and I've just certainly respected and admired you for a long time. But the other part is that I'm going to be able to sit and talk about Bobby Mitchell that most people don't know a lot about. And I'm talking about the Bobby Mitchell of Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Yes.
So Bobby of Hot Springs, it's a pleasure to have you on the Clio Exchange.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
So, having introduced Hot Springs as a topic, let's start there so that the audience can get to know you growing up in Hot Springs. Tell me about those times.
Well, Hot Springs, Arkansas is kind of the center of the state. It's not so far north or south. It's closer to Little Rock, and in between Little Rock and Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Quite a ways from Fort Smith.
Way back up in the
yes. But a marvelous area. Being in that area of the state, it was one of probably the most liberal towns, certainly in Arkansas. I mentioned something to someone earlier about growing up there, in the sense that I remember as a young kid taking the buses to school and all over town, and I don't remember ever riding in the back of the bus.
Wait a minute. Are you talking about Arkansas?
I'm talking about Arkansas. I'm talking about my town.
Oh, okay.
Hot Springs.
Okay.
20 miles from there, yes. But it was such a liberal town, and we grew up in a beautiful situation. It was a resort town. People from all over the world came there to take the hot baths, and this water came out of the ground at 147 degrees Fahrenheit.
My goodness.
And was piped into these bathhouses. My father worked in bathed people from all over the world.
Wait a minute. Your father worked in the bathhouse?
In the bathhouse.
Now, was that the primary employment category for
It was
blacks
one
in
of the
that?
bigger
Okay.
employments, because we had Bathhouse Row was one of the most beautiful area of the city, and just for blocks, nothing but these big, beautiful mansions. There was bathhouses. And this water, as I said, came out of the ground at hot as could be. You also had the cold springs, sulfur water and all, and people came there and drank that water and took those baths, and would leave their canes and wheelchairs right there.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
You know, I heard stories that that Hot Springs, Arkansas, perhaps during the time that you were there, was not only an attraction for tourists who wanted to come and bathe, but the boys from Chicago spent a lot of time down there.
Yeah, you started rattling off the names of the top gangsters.
You mean like Al Capone?
And all of those guys, they came through Hot Springs a lot. They spent a lot of time there. Because in the early years, and I'm talking back in the 30s and the 40s, we had gambling there, casinos. And I said we, I wasn't there, but and pretty well anything you want was there. Oaklawn Racetrack is one of the tours as you come into the Preakness and the Belmont. Just a tremendous small town, about 28,000 people during the time I was growing up, but 6 months out of the year there might be 200,000 people in that little town around the area.
And what was the size of the African American community?
The Afro-American community, surprisingly, was pretty large. A lot of people came to Hot Springs, were just more comfortable from some of the other towns, particularly the smaller towns further south. And so we would get this turnover of people coming from a lot of places. And there were several small towns in Arkansas, as I remember, where there were only a few blacks. And the kids, since they couldn't go to the white high schools, when they got to that grade level, would come to Hot Springs and enter school there.
So tell me about the school system. I mean, was it, because that's obviously where you got your athletic involvement.
We
separate but equal.
Separate but equal Bill Clinton's high school, the Trojans. Of course, we had to wait till they used their uniforms, and then we'd get them.
You mean Bill went to school in Hot Springs as well?
Yes, in his later years. He was born in Hope, but his later years, he was. His home was something like 8-10 blocks from me.